Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you guys joining me here as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news, some television, a little bit of sports thrown in here and there, just for fun, all the stuff that we love most in life. Listen, we got a lot of stuff to cover here today, so we're going to go right off the top with this. You guys will remember that one of my most pleasant surprise movies, certainly of the last couple of years, maybe even one of my most pleasant surprise movies of all time, was that little horror film, Happy Death Day. Now, you got to understand, I didn't even want to go see it. And the fact that they were having a press screening just up the street from my house is the only reason I went to go see it. Because I'd seen about 3 or 4 of these little low-budget horror films trying to take advantage of the Blumhouse phenomena that all disappointed me and all sucked, and Happy Death Day looked like it was going to be the dumbest one of the bunch. I went to go see Happy Death Day, and I loved it. I just ate it up. I went back to go see it 2 more times in theaters. Just loved the film. I thought it was great. Very fun, very... kind of a Scream meets Groundhog Day, and it just worked for me. Now, they've announced a while ago that they have a Happy Death Day to You coming, kind of a little play on words, cheesy title, but whatever, it's just the title. And they dropped a little teaser a while ago. Well, this morning, they've dropped their full reel trailer. Their full trailer for Happy Death Day to You dropped today, gave us a little bit more insight as to what the story is going to be, how it's going to pick up from the last one, what types of areas they're going to delve into with the movie. And I'll tell you what, I liked it. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, oh my God, this was the best trailer. It was a good trailer. It was good. But I was not blown away or even remotely enticed by the first Happy Death Days trailers. I wasn't even remotely enticed by those first trailers to the first Happy Death Day movie, not even a little bit. So I will say I like this trailer more than I like the trailers to the first Happy Death Day. But the difference here, though, is that this is a sequel, and I've seen the first Happy Death Day. I know I love this property. I know I love the quickness and the snappiness of the movie. It's important to point out we got the same director back, same screenwriters back. You clearly got the same cast back. And I liked it. It looks like, I might be misinterpreting this a little bit, but it looks like from the trailer that they're going to delve into what caused this time loop. They never touch on that in the first Happy Death Day. Nor do they ever really touch on it in Groundhog Day or any of the other movies that kind of do stuff like this. But it looks like maybe, they had that machine and maybe that kind of delves into what caused it. I don't know. But I do know this. I love the first one. The second trailer looks pretty good. I'm totally on board. I cannot wait to watch Happy Death Day 2. So bring it on. I'm excited about it. All right. Let's move on to this next little thing that dropped last night as I was on my way out the door for the evening with my wife. Surprisingly, and maybe it shouldn't surprise us one little bit, but it was announced yesterday and it's official. This isn't some report. This is official. Netflix has indeed canceled. It's unthinkable. It feels weird even saying it. Netflix has canceled Daredevil. Daredevil is now done. There will be no Daredevil season 4 coming to us on Netflix. It's a done deal. It's wrapped. It's out. Now, this is, on the one hand, some people might suggest, well, you shouldn't be surprised about this. I mean, they canceled Iron Fist. They canceled Luke Cage. Disney streaming's coming. This really shouldn't be a surprise. But no, it is a surprise. This Daredevil show was the crown jewel of Netflix as far as their original programming goes. But let's take a step back for a second, shall we? And this is why I think a lot of people are still surprised, despite the fact that Iron Fist got canceled, despite the fact that Luke Cage got canceled. Let's step back a little bit, shall we? When Iron Fist got canceled, one of the big hoo-has over at Netflix, Ted Sarandos, put out a statement. This was after Iron Fist got canceled. And somebody asked him about, all the other Netflix shows, the Luke Cages, the the Jessica Jones, the Daredevils, the Punishers, things like that. And he said, after they canned Iron Fist, those other shows, those are for us to cancel. Kind of highlighting the fact that Netflix holds all the cards here because they have the license to them. Nothing Disney can do about it. Netflix has the license to them. So he's saying those are for us to cancel. Disney can't cancel these. Well, those shows are for us to cancel. And he says, we're super happy with their performance so far. We're not just happy. Ted wants to let you know he's super happy about the performance of those things so far. Okay, fine, great. It wasn't more than 72 hours after he put out that statement that they then announced the cancellation of Luke Cage. Now, on the one hand, I wasn't really surprised. Iron Fist and Luke Cage were not good shows. They were not. The first half of Iron Fist Season 1 was great when they had Cottonmouth in it. It was great. Second half of Season 1, not so much. And I thought Luke Cage Season 2 was terrible. I mean, not a complete dumpster fire, but not good. Iron Fist, while Season 2 of Iron Fist was an improvement, and you couldn't get any worse than Iron Fist Season 1. Let's be honest about that. I mean, it just doesn't get any worse than that. But while Season 2 of Iron Fist was an improvement over Season 1, it wasn't a huge improvement. And overall, I think it's fair to say Iron Fist was just a bad show. Some reports came out suggesting that their ratings were very low. And more importantly, there was social media analytical data came out that kind of pointed that when Iron Fist dropped, Iron Fist Season 2, there was no social media buzz. Very, very low social media buzz. When Luke Cage Season 2 came out, very, very low social media buzz. But when Daredevil Season 3 came out, the social media buzz was off the charts. So there's a little bit of anecdote. There were some reports going around saying that Daredevil Season 3 also had extremely low numbers. Well, the guys who do the analytic stuff on the social media side, they said, well, that's just not possible because Daredevil Season 3 was exploding everywhere on social media, unlike, say, Iron Fist and Luke Cage were. But whatever. So less than 72 hours after this guy comes out and says, no, we're super happy with all these other shows, they cancel Luke Cage. And now, and you know what? Some people like me went, okay, not a big surprise. Iron Fist wasn't all that good. Luke Cage wasn't all that good. Okay, fine. They're going to put their energy on the stuff that's working, right? So Daredevil Season 3 drops. Now, not long after Daredevil Season 3 comes out, they pull the plug on that. So the question is why? Why pull the plug on what has been maybe one of the 10 best series on television, not just best comic book series, but maybe a top 10 best series on television over the past 3 or 4 years? That clearly has a lot of engagement, that clearly people talk about, that clearly is super high quality. Why would they do this? Well, Marvel put out an official statement yesterday. Not Netflix, but Marvel put out an official statement yesterday regarding, and I think within this statement we can garner some clues as to why the thing got canceled. Okay, and then I'm going to say something that none of you are going to agree with and none of you want to hear, but it is most likely the truth, and I'll tell you that in just a second. Let's take a look at Marvel's official statement. Marvel's official statement regarding the cancellation of the cancellation of Daredevil on Netflix says this. Marvel's Daredevil will not return for a 4th season on Netflix. We are tremendously proud of the show's last and final season, and although it's painful for the fans, we feel it best to close this chapter on a high note. By the way, this whole statement is nothing but spin. This whole statement is nothing but spin. Starting with, what, we had a great season? Well, let's just tell the fans we wanted to end it on a high note. BS. That's total BS, but let's read the statement anyway. We are tremendously proud of the show's last and final season, and although it's painful for the fans, we feel it best to close this chapter on a high note. BS. Anyway, we're thankful to showrunner Eric Olson, the show's writers, stellar crew, and incredible cast, including Charlie Cox as Daredevil himself, and we're grateful to the fans who have supported the show over the years. While the series on Netflix has ended, the 3 existing seasons will remain on the service for years to come, while the Daredevil character will live on in future projects for Marvel. All right. Number one, this statement is all spin. Some things are true, but being spun in a very interesting way. So, a couple of key things here. The show is staying on Netflix. Why? Because Netflix still has the rights. Netflix still has the license. Here's the thing. A lot of people are speculating that the reason that Daredevil has now been canceled on Netflix is that, and what people are just very naively, optimistically hoping for, is that Marvel is going to pick it up and bring it over to the Disney Plus streaming service. Is that possible? Yes. Is it likely? No. Everybody I've talked to, now granted, I haven't sat down and talked with the president of Netflix or Bob Iger, but there are a lot of people in these circles that I've talked to said, no, they're not bringing this thing over. As a matter of fact, I was told, and what I was told, total grain of salt here, what I was told could be completely incorrect. Because like I said, the person that told me this was not an executive at Netflix, so total grain of salt, but it is consistent with what we're hearing from everybody else. Netflix still holds the rights to the character. They still hold the rights, let me be specific, they hold the rights to this incarnation of Daredevil. If you're one of the people who's sitting there hoping that Disney Plus is just going to start running season 4, don't hold your breath. That is most likely not happening. That is most not likely not happening. So why did it get canceled? There are several things that are being floated right now, all of which are feasible. All right. Number one, there's been tension between Netflix and Disney since Disney announced their intention to launch their own streaming service. That's understandable. I mean, it would be surprising if there was no creative tension between Netflix and Disney once Disney comes out and says, we're going to launch a competing service to yours. Obviously, that creates some conflict, right? Sure, understandable. Human nature, this is the nature of business, we get it. So there are some theories being floated by industry insiders that this has something to do with the fact that Netflix doesn't want to be in the business of promoting the Marvel brand while Marvel and Disney are launching their own competing service. So they're just going to pull it off the air, not create any more new seasons, but hold on to the license. As Marvel says in their statement, Netflix still has the license to this show. Netflix is still going to be airing seasons 1 through 3. You're not going to see season 4 on another network. I mean, so that's the one thing. There's been other stuff saying that there was some creative tension over the length of the series. Netflix wanted to take Daredevil, according to the reports, Netflix wanted to take Daredevil from 13 episodes a season to 10, and Marvel resisted that. That's feasible. Do you cancel a show over 3 episodes, though? That's doubtful. So I don't think that's likely. Another reason to highly doubt, and you can probably dismiss any talk about Daredevil Season 4 is going to be on Disney Plus, is the fact that I just don't see, and a lot of industry insiders talking about how Disney Plus is not a place for an R-rated show. They're most likely not going to, take an R-rated show over there. What's the answer? PG it, but then you're not going to make any of the fans happy, right? So what are we left with? We're left with the final statement there said in Marvel's statement, that final line, while the Daredevil character will live on in future projects for Marvel. Here's what I'm going to speculate here. Whichever one of the theories about why Netflix has canceled Daredevil, whether you believe in the notion that it's the creative tension between Netflix and Disney. Netflix doesn't want to promote the character anymore, so they're just going to hold on to the rights to the show, continue to air the show, but not create new seasons. Whether you believe it was because of creative differences over 13 episodes to 10 episodes, or whether you believe in some other sort of theory. Regardless of that, what happens next? Here's what I think. I think what happens next is that we will see a Daredevil character who is not Charlie Cox in the MCU. I think that is the most logical thing. Let's take another look here at this statement that Marvel put out, and it's very, very key in its wording. Look at the second line. We are tremendously proud of the show's last and final season. Last, most recent, but just so we're not being ambiguous here, and final season. We are tremendously proud of the show's last and final season, and although it's painful for the fans, we feel it's best to close this chapter on a high note. In other words, we don't want to air our dirty laundry and talk about the real reason why this show has been canceled and how us and Netflix couldn't get together and come to an agreement and we couldn't see eye to eye. Now I just say, put out some BS. Oh, we just thought it was best to end it on a high note. Wow, this season was so good. We should cancel the show. Yeah, no, that's not what happened. Don't believe that for a second. That is absolutely not what happened. So don't buy into that BS. But I think all signs point to, number one, Daredevil is not moving over to Disney+. There's plenty of evidence for that, although it's possible, still possible. But I think Marvel wants to bring Daredevil into the MCU. And it won't be Charlie Cox. And here's the thing. When they do bring Daredevil into their MCU, it will put a final exclamation point on the fact they never really intended to have the Netflix shows in the same universe as the MCU. But John, didn't you see that newspaper clipping on the wall in the guy's office? Yes, there are several very, very vague and very, very tiny kind of winks of the eye and tip of the caps throughout the Netflix series that on some level maybe suggested maybe they live in the same universe. John, didn't you hear them mention the incident? Yeah, you had all that. I've been saying this for years. Despite the fact that there have been these very vague, very thinly layered references here and there to the greater MCU, they've never drawn any direct connection. They've never definitively made any direct connection between the shows and the cinematic universe. This vagueness is what's going to allow Marvel in the future to use a Daredevil character who is not the Charlie Cox character in their universe and it really not conflict anything with their ongoing continuity. I think this is what's going to happen. Now, I believe Jessica Jones and Punisher are already into production, so those are going to air, and then I will not be surprised at all if as soon as Jessica Jones Season 3 airs and Punisher Season 2 airs, you will quickly hear about how both of those series have been canceled as well. Which will then again free up the character of the Punisher to be used in a different incarnation in the MCU, which is where I kind of believe they're going to be taking him. But right now, I kind of believe, and what I believe all the evidence is pointing to, is that you are not going to see Iron Fist just pop up on Disney+. Daredevil's just going to pop up on Disney+. I don't think that's the plan. Or if you do, it'll be a completely different incarnation because this incarnation belongs to Netflix still and is still going to live on Netflix. What do I think is ultimately the reason when we hear about and talk about all these different theories about, why Daredevil's, the plug's been pulled on it. And by the way, how great was Season 3? Season 3 was so damn good. All season, they were all great. I have a hard time picking which one was even my favorite. They were all great. You know what the most heartbreaking thing about this is to me? That we're not going to get a chance to see D'Onofrio as Kingpin again. That is the biggest heartbreak to me and all. Don't get me wrong, I love Charlie Cox as Daredevil. I totally do. But the idea of not seeing Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin again is going to make me cry myself to sleep tonight, my friends. That's the part that's going to make me cry myself to sleep. But I think the most likely scenario is the first scenario. I think this all has to do everything about let's say the disruptive nature that Disney Plus is causing between the relationship of Disney and Netflix. And I think ultimately that's the bottom line. And that's what has caused this. And that's why we're not going to see Daredevil Season 3. And then ultimately we're going to see Daredevil pop up in the MCU. So that's my thoughts on this. I'm sure you guys have some thoughts on this that you're going to bring up when we get to the live chat part of the show a little bit later on. Start firing in your questions for that, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more. What do you guys think about the cancellation Daredevil? What do you think ultimately was the cause of the cancellation? And do you agree with me that we're ultimately not going to see Daredevil Season 4 pop up on Disney+, but rather a new Daredevil character pop up in the MCU, or maybe even a new incarnation of a Daredevil show on Disney+, but I believe that causes some problems with Netflix as well. He's going to be in the MCU. Within 4 years, he's going to be in the MCU. That's what I think. Anything's possible, but let's see where we go with that. All right. with that out of the way, guys, let's move on to our other main topics today. Now, usually our main topics are selected by you guys. How do you guys send in a main topic? It's simple. Just email me your topics or questions anytime to john@thejohncampeashow.com. That's john@thejohncampeashow.com. Make sure you put the word topic in the subject line. And as always, guys, make sure you keep those emails to 90 words or less. All right, with that out of the way, let's go on to the first email today. And the first email today comes to us from, not from them, it comes to us from Kevin Burton, who writes, "Hey, John." Hello, Kevin. Love the show and greetings from Buffalo. Go Sabres. I used to go to a lot of Sabres games. Anyway, Tom Hanks is the man. Not only is he going to be Mr. Rogers, but I just saw he's also going to be Geppetto in a live-action Pinocchio movie for Disney. What do you think? All right, thanks a lot for the email, Kevin. And yes, for those of you not heard, the man, Tom Hanks, without any doubt, one of the greatest actors of our generation. Like this age of time right now, Tom Hanks will go down as one of the best actors of this age. No doubt. Anyway, he's not only playing Mr. Rogers here pretty soon, but he apparently is going to play the role of Geppetto in the live-action Pinocchio adaptation that is coming from Disney. Now, Disney has been on a massive roll with their live-action adaptations. Their Beauty and the Beast film that they just had made over $1 billion. Their Jungle Book film almost made $1 billion. And this coming year in 2019 alone, they got 3 more. They got Dumbo, they got Aladdin, and they got this little film called The Lion King, which very well might be the #1 box office film of the year over Avengers 4. That's another topic for another time. We've already talked about that a bunch. But everything is looking great. So clearly Disney is really in this. They've found success with these quote-unquote live-action translations, even though Lion King is not a live-action translation. But they've found a lot of success with these live-action translations of their films. They're going full-on. We also got a Mulan live-action coming. That's on the way. I think they might have even wrapped production on that. So anyway, that's coming in 2020. They're going all in on this. Tom Hanks playing Geppetto is great. That's just awesome. I'll go see Tom Hanks in everything. And you guys know my wife, Ann, she would leave me in a heartbeat just to have coffee with Tom Hanks. Let me get this straight. I could have coffee with Tom Hanks and all I have to do is leave John? Bye. That's basically how that conversation would go. Like to my wife, Ann, Tom Hanks is literally, if on the Egyptian pyramid of the gods, he's at the top. I mean, there's just that, right? And I can't even blame her. For that. Anyway, so Tom Hanks in it is great. But I'll tell you what thing really catches my attention about this Pinocchio live action. And that's that Paul King is going to be directing it. Who's Paul King? We've been talking about him a little bit lately. Paul King is the guy who directed Paddington and Paddington 2. And if you guys have watched me for any period of time, Paddington and Paddington 2 are just flat out awesome movies. Just flat out awesome movies. So good that I said if they do get around to doing Paddington 3, and if Paddington 3 is even within 10% of being as good as Paddington 1 and 2, Paddington gets in the conversation for the top 5 trilogies of all time. A kids movie series about a talking bear? Yeah, you're damn right. It's that good. These films are that good. And the fact that they got this guy going to be directing a Tom Hanks as Geppetto in a live-action Pinocchio film? Are you kidding me? Of course that's something to be excited about. And listen, Tom Hanks has got like a big war movie coming out. Obviously, he's got this You Are My Friend where he plays Mr. Rogers based on a true story. And of course, if you still haven't seen that Mr. Rogers documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor? My God, make sure you check it out. It will change you as a person when you watch it. And Tom Hanks is just like one of the most perfect choices to play this role. Him playing Geppetto, I think is nothing but good news. So it's definitely got my attention on that. All right, let's move on to the next email today. And the next email today comes to us from Rick Keir, who writes, "Hey, John, love the show." Thank you so much, Rick. "I just saw Warner Brothers developing a Blue Beetle movie. Why aren't they saying anything on Batman? Fans will lose interest soon if nothing is going on." All right, thanks a lot for the email, Rick. First of all, let's get the Batman part out of the way. Then we'll talk about Blue Beetle. Look, we know all the drama that's been going on with Batman. And the drama continues and is ongoing. But pump the brakes for a second. If Warner Brothers doesn't say something soon, fans are going to lose interest. There will never be a lack of interest in Batman. Don't fool yourself for a second, my friend. There will never be a loss of interest in Batman. You may talk to some people, say, I'm not interested in Batman. That's fine. You may know some people that feel that way. But en masse, pop culturally speaking, you're never going to lose interest in Batman. You could make Batman and Robin with the bat nipples, and the culture still didn't lose interest in Batman. Still all came back to watch him when Christopher Nolan put out his movies. Even Batman and Robin couldn't kill interest in Batman. So don't you worry about Batman. Because no matter what happens with this ridiculous drama going on, like why is Matt Reeves announcing 18 other projects and these partnerships with this and this and this, and we still have no Batman thing years after he's been in, whatever. However that turns out, don't fool yourself into thinking we're going to lose interest in Batman. That ain't going to happen. All right. That being said, the real story here is that, I can't remember if it was The Wrap or if it was Deadline, but one of the two came out and announced that Warner Brothers is in development of a Blue Beetle movie. Not only are they in development, they've already hired their screenwriter, who I can't remember the name of the guy, but I believe it's the same screenwriter who wrote the new adaptation of Scarface for Universal. So they hired this guy to come on and write it. And while there have been 3 different incarnations of Blue Beetle in the comics, this one would focus on the most recent one, Jaime Reyes, who is a younger dude. I believe he lived in Texas, stumbled across this backpack as 2 alien contingents were fighting each other over this backpack. He grabs the backpack. There's this blue beetle looking thing that attaches itself to his spine, turns himself into the Blue Beetle. Now, for some of you out there who are going, wait a minute, what the hell is a Blue Beetle? You're not alone. There's a lot of people who don't know what Blue Beetle is and have no idea what Blue Beetle is, and you're scratching your head saying, that sounds ridiculous. And you're right, it does. But as I said, the new incarnation, and by the way, if you're somebody who've watched the CW Arrowverse, you may have heard several references to Cord Industries. Cord is the second incarnation of Blue Beetle. Brilliant scientist, blah, blah, blah. And so that was the connection there. But obviously that was just a wink of the eye to the audience who knew what the DC comics were. But anyway, this is the third incarnation. Jaime Reyes is going to be our Blue Beetle. Now, the Blue Beetle is basically an armor. There have been different incarnations of it. Sometimes this scarab has been magical in nature. Sometimes it's been like powers bestowed by Egyptian gods. The newest incarnation of Blue Beetle, it comes from this big blue beetle looking metal scarab, right? That actually is from an alien race, follow me here, called the Reach, that send it out as a part of their plan to take over the world. But it gets damaged by a Green Lantern. We'll get into that later. It gets damaged by a Green Lantern. It lands on Earth. People fighting over it. Jaime Reyes comes along and finds it, attaches to him, and it creates this battle armor around him, gives him the ability to create magnificent weapons, increases his strength and his speed, and a bunch of other wacky abilities, and he is the Blue Beetle. And he's been reincarnated several times in the comics and brought back in different incarnations. He was a part of New 52. He was a part of Rebirth as well. So he's back, and apparently they're making a movie about him. Here's what is the most interesting thing about this to me. While there have been Hispanic and Latino characters in the big comic book movies, right? We had El Diablo in Suicide Squad. We got the Michael Pena character in Ant-Man who's like just owns those movies. This will be the first, in this new age, this will be the first major comic book release film, if it gets made, because remember, we've heard lots of DC properties that are being developed that have never been made. So if this does get made, this will be the first Hispanic or Latino lead standalone movie character in a superhero film, which is amazing. Do you know that the Hispanic and Latino audience make up almost 1/4 of the movie-going audience in North America? Nearly 25%. I believe the specific number is 24. but nearly 25% of people who buy movie tickets are Hispanic and Latino. And this would be the first one with a lead character from that community. That's great. It's kind of weird that this never happened before. We've had like 30 or 40 major, in the past 10 years, we've had 30 or 40 major comic book movies, and none of them, zero, with a lead Hispanic or Latino character. And now they're doing it. I think that's great. Now, and from a business point of view, it makes, of course, like 1/4 of your audience represents this community. How have you not made any moves anyway? That's a discussion for smarter people than me. I will admit, all right? I will admit, I've never been a Blue Beetle fan, right? I'll admit it. I've never been a big Blue Beetle fan. To me, from the design of the character and the whole alien armor origin, stuff like that, he's certainly always been to me one of the more ridiculous looking characters and all that kind of stuff. The power scheme, alien battle armor, can do this, can create all these weapons. Isn't that what Cyborg does? I mean, and he was been a part of the Teen Titans and all that kind of stuff, just like Cyborg. I have never been big on the character. Never been big on him. But if you do this right, it could be something pretty special. And by the way, this once again kind of points to the fact that right now it seems like Warner Brothers is moving more and more away from Batman and Superman in their stuff. We've got Aquaman coming out, which looks just freaking spectacular. I think Shazam looks great. We got now this Blue Beetle thing coming. The one holdover of the big trinity is, of course, Wonder Woman 84. And if Patty Jenkins is directing that, sign me up. But it seems like more and more Disney under Walter Hamada is saying it's time for us to explore these characters and these stories that aren't the bigger ones that we've ever had. And let's just discover new audiences. And let's bring new stories and new mythologies to the screen that have been on our comic book pages but have not been on the big screen before. And let's maybe take a step back from Superman and Batman. And it looks more and more like that's kind of what they're doing. And them announcing or them saying or the reports coming out about a Blue Beetle movie just kind of reinforces that. And you know what? Some people may say, and understandably so, I've been one of these voices. Some people say, you can't do your universe without Superman. You can't do your universe without Batman. And hey, I've been one of those voices. But they do say that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and just expecting different results. Continuing to do the same thing and expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. Warner Brothers has tried their cinematic universe, leaning on their Superman, leaning on their Batman, and for many, many different reasons, hasn't worked. So what do? Do you just keep doing it? Do you just keep going and hope that the results will be different? Or do you change gears? And there's many different ways to change gears. Going in this type of a direction seems to be the gear that Walter Hamada has chosen. And look, if Aquaman is any indication, maybe they're going in the right direction. Maybe they're going in the right direction. I think it's going to be important for us as film fans over the next 2 years to take a step back and just take each movie as they come out without any pre-existing expectations. Let's just go in and watch Aquaman and see if it lives up to the hype. I'm betting that it will. Let's go in and see Shazam and see if it lives up to its potential. Let's go in and see Wonder Woman 84 and see if it lives up to the first one. Let's go in and see Blue Beetle or whatever it is, or it's Birds of Prey or whatever, and see if each individual thing. And then maybe we'll start to get a bigger picture. But I think for the next couple of years, it's going to be important for us as film fans to just take a breath and let's see where Walter Hamada wants to take this thing. Because if Aquaman is any indication, it looks like they're heading in a pretty good direction. Well, anyway, we'll wait and see. All right, let's move on now to the third email today. And the third email today comes to us from Michelle O'Brien, who writes, Hey, John, you turned me on to Runaways. Oh, I love that show. And I just fell in love with it. Just saw a trailer for the new second season, and it looks amazing. Have you had a chance to see it yet, and what did you think? All right, thanks a lot for the question, Michelle, and I'm so glad you got turned on to Runaways. One of my favorite things about this show is when I get to introduce you guys to something maybe you haven't checked out before, and when you guys introduce me to some things I haven't checked out before. It's one of the best things about being film fans and in a community together. Anyway, I'm so glad you had a chance to check out Runaways. Of course, a Marvel property that was originally planned to be a movie in the MCU. They scrapped those plans and then went to Hulu and have the Runaways series on Hulu. And while I love the Runaways comics, and they're Anne's favorite comics, by far, the Runaways is Anne's favorite comic series. That includes Saga, that includes all that kind of stuff. Runaways is her favorite. And she's the one who turned me on to Runaways. While the comics are great, the TV series has taken a lot of liberties. That Runaways season 1 has taken a lot of liberties. It's clearly Runaways. All the building blocks and all the bones of the Runaways comic book series is there, but then they go in a lot of different directions as well. And I'll tell you what, forget the expectations from the comics. Runaways is a great show. So much better than Cloak and Dagger. Anyway, Runaways is a great show. They just have done a marvelous job with it. And we know it's coming December 21st, same day that Aquaman opens. Hulu is dropping Marvel's The Runaways Season 2 on December 21st. And I've been really excited about it. And you're right, the first real trailer for Season 2 has now dropped. And I loved it. I loved it. It looks like the kids are now changing gears from just being these confused kids about what are our parents doing to now we need to start acting as a team, blah, blah, blah. I love the fact that they do a little bit of mix between a practical rubber dinosaur and then CGI when they need to do it. I like the dynamics of the kids. I like the interactions between all of them. I like the relationships between all of them. I think each member of the Runaways have very unique personalities, yet they all blend in perfectly well together. And each episode just draws you into the next. And I thought this trailer for season 2 builds on that. I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more of their abilities. That's one of the things they really did show off in this trailer, is that while season 1 was more about the story and setting everything up, it looks like, if we take the trailer seriously, that season 2 is going to show off more about what they can do. Built on the foundation of what they did in season 1, to me, that is freaking exciting. I love this show. I cannot wait for it to come back. That's going to be a busy weekend because, guys, we got to watch Mary Poppins. We got to see Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse. We got to watch Mortal Engines. We got to watch Bumblebee. We got to watch Aquaman. We got to watch Welcome to Marwen. And, by the way, season 2 of Runaways is dropping on December 21st as well. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks, but I cannot wait. I'm just giddy. And we're only like 2.5 weeks away from being right in the meat of it. I'm so excited. Okay, let's move on now to the final email today. And the final email today comes to us from Brennan Francois. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Baby Driver was one of my favorite movies last year, and one of the reasons was Eiza Gonzalez. Just read that she's got a major role in Hobbs and Shaw. That's the Fast and Furious spin-off movie with Jason Statham and Dwayne Johnson. On top of being in the new Godzilla vs. King Kong movie, could she be the next big breakout star? All right, thanks a lot. And like you, Eiza Gonzalez had been in a couple of things prior to Baby Driver. But like you, Baby Driver is where I really first took serious notice of her. Her dynamic and chemistry with John Hamm in that movie was awesome. She's great in that movie, and I absolutely love her. And she's got a couple of high-profile things. We knew she's got Kong Godzilla coming up. And now they announced she's got a major role in Hobbs and Shaw. That's a big profile picture. But guess what? This girl has several really cool things coming out. So when you're asking, could she be like the next It Girl? It's not a ridiculous question. Let's look at this. So she's going to be one of the main characters in Welcome to Marwen. She's one of the female characters in Welcome to Marwen. That could be an Oscar kind of movie. That's huge. She's got a big role in Alita Battle Angel. That's huge. She's got this movie coming out called Paradise Hills, which I don't know a lot about. It looks a little bit like a Stepford Wives kind of thing. I know Emma Roberts is in it with her, so that could be interesting. Highway, another film I don't know a lot about, but it's got Josh Hartnett in it. Remember him? How long has it been since we talked about Josh Hartnett? But he's in it with her. The comic book film Bloodshot. She's got that coming out. She's got the movie, a movie coming out about the New Orleans and the Katrina disaster called Cutthroat City. I believe that one is being directed by RZA. Then she's got the Hobbs and Shaw movie with Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. She's got Godzilla vs. Kong, and it's reported that she's got a role in Kung Fury 2. And that's just in the next 2 to 3 years. Guys, look at this lineup. That's just the next 2 to 3 years. This girl is a face we're going to be seeing an awful lot of. And I'm just saying, is if Baby Driver is any indication, the studios all seem to have a big, big belief in her. Because, yeah, there's some smaller known films, but again, you're like Kung Fury 2, Godzilla, King Kong, Hobbs and Shaw, Bloodshot, I think is going to be pretty big. Alita, Battle Angel, Welcome to Marvel. These are high profile. Everything going from the Oscar buzz end of things to comic book end of things and all things in between. She's diversifying herself. She's got studios lining up to work with her. She's got major high profile stuff coming. We've already liked what we've seen of her and stuff. Could she be, quite often an actor is in something, an actor or an actress is in something, and we instantly ask the question, are they going to be the next big thing? And it's usually a folly question to ask. But with Gonzalez, it's absolutely possible. It is absolutely possible. When you look at her body work up to now, but you see what she's got coming? Yeah. She could be one of the next big powerhouse things, or she could just fizzle and fade away. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm betting she's going to be a big deal for a long time to come. All right, guys, that's all the email stuff today. With all the email stuff out of the way, let's go over and take some live questions. You guys have been firing in a lot of live questions, and I know a bunch of you are probably going to want to talk about Daredevil as well. So let's go over and to the live chat board and see what's going on here. And we're going to start things off with Adam Douglas, who writes, yay or nay, Singing in the Rain remake with Hugh Jackman. I generally don't like these. Could you see X actor in this role? But I will say this. Would I instantly be intrigued if they announced tomorrow they were doing a Singing in the Rain with Hugh Jackman? Obviously. Hugh Jackman, I contend, is the greatest entertainer in the world right now. He is the ultimate triple threat. He's a world-class actor and a world-class singer and a dancer. He is the big triple threat. He's the best triple threat in the world. He's the world's best entertainer. That's the fan side of me. If I was a studio head, would I green light a Singing in the Rain with Hugh Jackman? Probably not. Probably not. But as a fan, I'd probably be in line to go see it. Abel Contreras writes, Alita Battle Angel to break 1 billion. Oh, no, I do not think so. And spawn a new wave of Japanese comic-based films like Marvel did with Iron Man. Honestly, can't wait for February. First of all, I thought, and I did not like the first trailer for Alita Battle Angel. And director Robert Rodriguez is on a slump. He's in a slump. I have not been impressed with anything he's made for a number of years. That being said, once you got past the first trailer and we got into the second and third trailers, the second and third trailers sold me. And I went from, I guess I'll have to watch this Alita Battle Angel. I went from that to, ooh, I can't wait to see Alita Battle Angel. I'm legitimately excited to see this movie now. $1 billion film? I don't think so. Now, there's a lot we have to see still. I'll tell you what, though. Remember Alita Battle Angel was one of those movies in that death window? Alita Battle Angel was supposed to open on December 21st as well. And they had the smarts to move it out and put it into a different month. Great move on their part. Absolutely fantastic move on their part. And they're going to make a lot more money opening where they're at than they would have if they opened in that death window. But $1 billion, I find that a hard pill to swallow. I don't know if I buy that. I don't know that I buy that. I think a number of people are turned off by the look of Alita and all that. Whether they should or shouldn't is up for debate. But the fact matters, a lot of people, we saw a lot of chatter, turned off by the look of the film, all this kind of stuff. I don't think so. But I also think it's unfair to put that type of expectation on it. I think Alita Battle Angel could come out and make $500 million, and that's great. That's great. So I think putting up an expectation like $1 billion is a little bit unrealistic, but who knows? Who knows? We've seen straight. Who thought this Avatar film was going to be the biggest box office film in history, right? So who knows, but I've got my doubts. But let's see how it plays out. All right. Javier Rios writes, so happy Cowboys won against the Saints. Was not expecting to actually win, but winning cures everything. Winning cures everything. Like, right? You go to Dallas right now, everybody's talking much differently about the Cowboys than they were 3 weeks ago, right? Because winning cures everything. But while they played the best game of their season and their defense showed up to shut down the best offense in football, say everything you want about Kansas City and everything you want about Los Angeles, and I love both those teams. New Orleans is the best offense in football, and talk all you want about Mahomes, talk all you want about Goff or anybody else, Drew Brees is the MVP. Not Aaron Rodgers, not Mahomes, not Tom Brady. This year, Drew Brees is the MVP. He's having the greatest season any quarterback has ever had in the history of NFL. So to have a win like that, that's a big win. I still don't expect much from the Cowboys, to be honest with you. But hey, give credit where it's due. Winning cures everything, and that was a statement win. Beating the Saints was a statement win, and good on them. Let's see. George Costanza writes, Timmy, that's like putting your whole mouth right in the dip. From now on, when you take a chip, just take one dip and end it. George, well, I'm sorry, Timmy, but I don't dip that way. Takes chips. Like, I'll tell you what, that episode of Seinfeld launched a nationwide debate about whether you can double dip a chip into the dip. I'm going to tell you what, where I fall in that. I'm a second dipper. I am, and I'm proud to say it. I take if I get a big chip, yeah, I'll get a little bit of dip, take a bite. I don't take a bite and then lick the rest of the chip and then dip again. No, I just take a bite with my teeth. There's some of the chip left over, I dip again. Prove me wrong. I believe that's a perfectly legitimate way to dip, and that's how I dip. And I'm not going to apologize for it. Sandeep writes, Russo brothers said the Avengers 4 title is something said in a previous MCU movie. So I contend, Avengers 4, Piss Off Ghost, or Avengers 4, Boom, you're looking for this. I've heard some people, I haven't read that quote from them directly, but I've heard other people reference it, so maybe it's true. I don't know. Avengers Avenge. But I do like Avengers 4. Piss Off Ghost. By the way, one of the funniest single lines ever in a MCU movie. I remember when Taika Waititi as Korg yells, Piss Off Ghost. I just lost my freaking mind. I laughed so hard at that. Anyway, it's a fantastic line. I don't really care what the title for Avengers is. I really don't. Because the title is not going to make the movie any better, and it's not going to make the movie any worse. Am I interested in the title? Sure, I'm interested, but do I care? No, not really. And it is kind of funny to me that so many people like just drooling, waiting to hear what the title of the movie is. Who cares? It's Avengers 4, right? Avengers Infinity War is Avengers 3. This is Avengers 4. Ultron was Avengers 2. It doesn't matter what the title is. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of you guys feel differently, and I respect that. I do. Completely respect it. But for me, while I'm curious to know, I just don't really look forward to it. I don't really care. You know, it's not like I'm waiting to hear the title as much as I'm waiting to see the trailer, right? And even then, we're still a ways away. I'm not in any rush. Murray Reich writes, I was looking to buy tickets for Spider-Verse movie on the AMC app, and I saw at my Empire 25 theater there was a new bullshit format, Prime 3D. Why AMC? Yeah, so I have been informed by somebody at AMC, because remember we've been asking, it used to be Dolby Theater at AMC Prime. AMC Prime was the Dolby Theater at AMC. That's what it was. It was one and the same thing. But now they're two different things. Now you have the Dolby Cinema and you have Prime. And what's the difference? They're almost identical except for the fact that the Dolby theaters at AMC use the dual laser projection system, while the Prime theaters, I think they call it a Xeon bulb. I think they use these things called Xeon bulbs, which is a little bit more like a traditional projection system. But other than that, they're basically identical. In the Dolby cinemas, you never had 3D. The dual laser system was not, I believe, calibrated to do 3D. So when you went to see a movie at an AMC Prime Dolby theater, you never had to worry about it being in 3D because 3D sucks ass. Anyway, just my opinion. So 3D is stupid. Anyway, but now that they have these Prime theaters that don't use the dual laser system, they can do 3D. Just another excuse to charge you more for a movie ticket. I don't know why anybody would go and watch it. James Welsh writes, is it just Netflix shows? Are Runaways and Cloak and Dagger safe? Yeah, I think the reason you're not hearing any drama about Cloak and Dagger or Runaways is because this isn't about Marvel trying to take those shows back for Disney+. That's not what this is about. This is about a contentious now relationship between Netflix and Disney. That's what this is about. So yes, I believe that Runaways looks totally safe. Cloak and Dagger is safe, but I didn't even think Cloak and Dagger was all that good. The first episode was very intriguing. I liked the first episode of Cloak and Dagger, but to me it all went downhill after that. And never lived up to the potential that episode 1 and 2 kind of set up. Episode 1 and 2 showed a lot of potential, and then it just never lived up to it. But other than the fact that Cloak and Dagger is not a very good show, and could be pulled because of that, I do believe Runaways and Cloak and Dagger are pretty much relatively safe. Kara Black writes, how many companion videos will you do this weekend? I don't know. It depends on how much time I have. I'm going to try to do one today. I'm going to try. And then at least one on the weekend. So I've got about 75 questions waiting to be answered in the companion videos. And I could probably knock those out in two videos. So I'm going to try for 2. But again, I'm just going to have to wait and see how the weekend unravels, but I'm going for 2. I'm going for 2. James Welsh, and I'm also, by the way, guys, this weekend, Play and Chat returns. I'm going to be playing and chatting with you guys while playing on the PlayStation 4 Pro Spider-Man. Now, let me warn you, I am going to suck worse than you've ever seen anybody suck in a video game. I cannot use controllers. Everybody says to me, but John, keyboard and mouse is harder. It's harder to use a keyboard and mouse to play video games than a controller. That's fine that you feel that way. To me, it's second nature. To me, mouse and keyboard is the best way to play a video game. And using a controller, wait, one controller to move, one controller to look around this. What? This is, I can't wrap my head around it, but I'm going to start up Spider-Man. I did a couple of test streams recently, just like 2-minute test streams, just to make sure I could stream with it. And I was able to. So I'm going to do the play and chat this weekend with Spider-Man. If you want to watch, that's great. Just be warned. Don't watch me as a way to get good insight how to play Spider-Man. Because I'm going to suck worse than anybody you've ever seen suck in the history of video games. All right? I'm just giving you that warning right now. So if you want to watch along, if you want to watch a car wreck, if you want to pull up a lawn chair, get a beer, sit down and watch a car wreck, which is going to be me playing Spider-Man, then by all means come and laugh at my ineptitude. All right. Let's see. James Welsh writes, do you think Disney will keep Scar's original look with a black mane and orange fur, or make him look like a realistic lion? Well, they're definitely going to make him look like a realistic lion. I mean, we got that from seeing Simba, both as an adult and younger, the other animals. They're going for the realistic look, but they could play with the color. I suspect, and I don't know this for a fact, that Scar will clearly have a darker mane. I think they'll give Scar a darker mane because they got to make sure we can easily distinguish the different characters, right? Like when I watch a documentary with 2 lion brothers, I have a hard time telling them apart. So you got to do something. Clearly, Scar's also going to have the scar, right? So that's going to be there. But I think they'll give him a bit of a darker mane, but still keep that photorealistic look at the same time. That's my guess, but I'm only speculating. Let's see. John DeBenedict writes, where's John? There he is. I'll admit, while I'm disappointed about Daredevil, I'm not devastated. Season 3 was a great note to go out on, assuming it's not revived elsewhere. Yeah, and I think everything points to them not reviving it. I think we'll see the character Daredevil again, but not the Charlie Cox Daredevil, a different Daredevil. I think that'll happen, but I don't think they're going to revive it. And look, at the end of the day, man, we got 3 incredible seasons of an amazing show that a few years ago we would have thought impossible. They took Daredevil and made, again, I believe, over the past 4 or 5 years, Daredevil is a top 10 best TV show that's been on TV. And while we are all angry about this right now, I think once we take a step back and take a breath, at the end of the day, we need to go, thank you, Netflix. Thank you for giving us that. We're pissed off that we're not going to get more of it, but you gave us 3 seasons plus a 4th if you want to count Defenders, and they were great. So thank you for that. And it showed us what these comic book properties could look like in a dark, dramatic television series setting. Thank you. We're all pissed off at Netflix right now, but I think honestly we need to take a breath and go, thank you, Netflix. Thank you for giving us these past couple of years. This has been great. This has been great. Thank you for giving this to us. So we'll see how we all play it out. Let's see. Where are we at here? We are at Alexander Helmer, who writes, Daredevil better be back on Disney service. Season 3 was amazing. I don't hold your breath, Alexander. I do not think that's in the plans. I don't think that's in the cards right now. That, for several reasons that I've already kind of mentioned and pointed out, I don't think that's anything we should expect. What I do suspect is that we're going to see Daredevil in the MCU. But, Disney made it clear in their statement. The television rights to this Daredevil show still belong to Netflix. The series is going to continue to live on Netflix. So it's not going to live on Netflix and then continue on another. That's just not what's going to happen. And I don't think, again, because of the nature of the Daredevil show, it's not something they'd want to put on Disney streaming. So I think in Game of Thrones terms, I think the Daredevil's watch has come to an end. Anyway, Abraham Asif writes, saw Molly's Game again recently. Love that movie. That scene on the bench with the father and daughter is so good. One of the best movies of last year. Seriously, Molly's Game was all kinds of spectacular. That movie was absolutely spectacular. I think it was like my second favorite movie of that year. I'm pretty sure it was my second favorite movie of the year. And, sorry, the reason I'm looking at my phone is Ann just sent me a text. So I'm going to tell you a quick story here. Ann and I, quick story as I take a break from, and don't worry guys, I'm going to make today's show long so we can get through all the super chat questions that come in. We're going to go long today. We're going to go long because it's Friday. Who cares? Let's go long. It's my show. I can do whatever the hell I want to do. But as many of you guys remember, Ann's dad, I'm just cutting in here because of this text Ann just sent me. Ann's dad passed away about 2 years ago now. Ann loved her dad. And he was a great man. He was a great American story. Came over from the Philippines to build a better life for his family. Ann is the only one of her siblings that was actually born here. Ann was born in Hollywood, actually. And she adored her dad. It was really hard when her dad passed away. And Ann's dad was a basketball fanatic. Played basketball in the Philippines. Just a basketball fanatic, and he loved the Lakers. Loved the Lakers so much. So much so that when the Lakers come on TV, sometimes Ann still gets a little teary-eyed just when they come on TV. So I decided, against my better, cheaper nature, I thought, you know what? And I don't even know if Ann's dad ever went to a Lakers game, but she always talked about, seeing a game and thinking of her dad. So I said, you know what? For your Christmas present, I'm going to give you an early Christmas present. This is your Christmas present. We're going to get courtside seats at the Lakers game. And we're going to go and have the best Lakers game experience everywhere, to the point that your dad is going to look down on you and be jealous and just love it. And we went last night. So I'm holding up a thing here. I don't know if you can see it. So there's the picture. See that girl right there with the hat? That's Ann. I'm right behind Lonzo. I'm right here. But there's Ann. She just sent me this text that I guess somebody caught her on TV, which is funny because I also, hold on a second. Let me see if I can find this for you guys. Somebody tweeted this to me last night. And it was, again, but it's this kind of same, there's Lonzo, but there's me. I was on the TV last night too. And that was fun. and we were sitting right beside the Lakers bench. So where's this picture? Yeah, so during one of the timeouts, I put up this tweet that just said, some guy sitting right beside us. So there's LeBron. But my favorite picture from last night was one of me and Ann. I'll see if I can find it here. There it is. This really great picture of me and Ann at our seats, standing right there on the court, which was a lot of fun. And Ann brought her Laker gear. She's got her Laker hat and her Laker jersey and bought all sorts of stuff. And we were there, and you could just kind of feel Ann's dad with us, having a blast. And it was a real special night, and it was a lot of fun. So a bunch of you guys actually tweeted me last night going, John, are you at the Lakers game? I thought I saw you on TV. Yep, that was us sitting there, so it was a lot of fun. But anyway, Abraham, sorry for taking us on that sidetrack there, guys. I just wanted to share that with you. Molly's game was freaking spectacular, and that scene between her and her dad on the park bench was so emotionally moving. It was great. It is one of the reasons she is one of the best actresses in the business today. I love her. Very curious to see her role in the upcoming X-Men Dark Phoenix. So let's see where that goes. Ben Rayner writes, do you think the Gifted is in danger or safe? It's not. It has nothing to do. Again, this whole thing about Iron Fist, Luke Cage, this has to do with the relationship between Netflix and Disney. So the Gifted, if it disappears, it'll disappear because of the same reason every other show disappears. But in all other normal terms, it's totally safe. Gifted is totally safe. Let's see. Hayden Burke writes, Episode 9 basically would coincide with the launch of Galaxy's Edge and The Mandalorian. It's the last major blockbuster of the decade and Disney's last of 2019. Just how hard will they go with marketing? Oh, they're going to go hard on the marketing. Yeah, they're going to go pedal to the metal on the marketing on Episode 9. Absolutely, no doubt. How good Episode 9 will be, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But how hard are they going to go on the marketing of it? They're going to go balls to the wall. I mean, not just because of all the very legitimate reasons you bring up, Hayden. It's the last big thing of the decade. It's going to be, kind of around the same area as The Mandalorian is going to be launching. Last big film of the year, blah, blah. And the final of this new trilogy they've done. They are going to want to go full throttle on the marketing. Whether the marketing will be any good or not, we have to wait and see. Whether or not the movie will be any good or not, we'll have to wait and see. I loved the last J.J. Abrams Star Wars movie, so there's that, but who knows, right? This could be great, could be awful, who knows? But as far as, just looking at what will Disney's philosophy be in approaching this movie when it comes to their marketing and how much effort they're going to put into it, it's going to be balls to the wall, man. Absolute balls to the wall. All right. Dim Sum writes, prediction, Lion King will cause a backlash from purists complaining that Favreau didn't do a shot-for-shot clone. Well, I mean, here's the thing, Dim Sum. You're not wrong, but you can make that prediction about almost anything. Like, the question will be, will there be a large contingent of backlash because it's not a shot-for-shot? I'm not sure there's going to be a large one. Will there be some? Sure. That's to be expected. Absolutely. But this is one of those situations where often a studio is in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, right? Because when it gets announced that, be prepared is not going to be in the movie, and there's going to be a couple of original songs put in, blah, 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 you get this thing, what? You're not doing it exactly like the original Lion King? Well, I'm mad. Then the trailer comes out, which was a shot-for-shot just for the trailer point of view, right? And it's like, then you get these other people saying, what? What's the point of doing a Lion King if you're just doing it for shot for shot? What? You're not doing it for shot for shot? How dare you? Why is it even Lion King? What? You're doing shot for shot? I mean, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Every movie, look, one of the things that I learned in the years that I've been doing online YouTube videos and podcasts and things like this is this. No matter what you do, there are going to be people who get mad and pissy. No matter what you do, there are going to be people who get mad and pissy. It doesn't matter what it is you do. You make a shot-for-shot Lion King remake, there are going to be people who get pissy at you. You don't do a shot-for-shot remake of Lion King, there's going to be people who get pissy at you. And I've learned that. It's just a truth. I mean, I once joked about it, but it's true. I could have a video of myself going way up north or south, wherever baby seals live, and rescue a dying baby seal, cute little baby seal pup. I could find a baby seal that's dying, and oh no, it's going hungry, it's going to die. And I could find it and save it and bring it home and nurse it back to health and release it back into the wild so it can live a full, healthy seal kind of life. And it would still get people getting pissy at me for one reason or another. But that's the reality of it. And, you know, when I do some conferences and I do some speaking sometimes about starting and doing online podcasts or blogs or videos, one of the things I always warn people is no matter what you do, just be prepared for this. No matter what you do, you are going to get people pissy at you. It doesn't matter what you do. You could say nothing and people will get pissy at you. You could say tons and people will get pissy at you. You could say A and people will get pissy at you. You can say B and there'll be people who will get pissy at you. Don't think there's any magic formula to doing anything anyway where nobody will criticize you. It just doesn't exist. And Disney's known that forever, but they're just having an explanation point put on it now. You're doing a shot for shot? How dare you? You're not doing a shot for shot? How dare you? Like, you're not going to make everybody happy. Just can't do it. Okay, let's see. In Poor Taste Humor writes, do you think Lion King being animated will affect its chances at winning most popular film? Just kidding. I don't really care. Thank you for all that you do. Well, I mean, first of all, my God, how stupid is that most popular film category they're talking about? Thankfully, it's not going to be a part of the Oscars. Hopefully, it will never become a part of the Oscars, but thankfully, it's not going to be part of this year's Oscars. Let's wait and see. As far as its overall Oscar chances, let's see how good it is. All I know is this. If Jon Favreau can do what he did with The Jungle Book, we are talking about a Best Picture contender. Clearly a Best Animated Film contender. But who knows? Now, any movie could be awful. Maybe this Lion King movie will be terrible. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. James Bonner writes, Depp was the best in Fantastic Beasts 2. Oh, he was great in it. Look, listen, I have my reservations about Johnny Depp. I do. Everybody knows this. But look, give him his due. He was great as Grindelwald in Fantastic. Whether you liked Fantastic Beasts 2 or not, he was solid. He was really good in that. To me, he was the best part of that movie. Now, that doesn't remove and take away all the other controversy and all the other problems, but to me, he was the best thing about that movie. Chris Warden writes, how about them Cowboys? The defense was for real. Well, last night it was for real. There's no doubting that. They've also been leaky as a sieve in other games. But last night, hey man, credit where it's due. They showed up and they played a great game against probably the best team in the NFL. And that's when they chose to play their best game of the season. And they're on a bit of a roll now. Winning cures everything. Dim Sum writes, S.H.I.E.L.D. renewed, Daredevil canceled. Ouch. Yeah, but it's two totally different scenarios, right? S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel has their own reasons for wanting it out there. It had very questionable ratings, but it's on an existing Disney channel. ABC is owned by Disney. So it's their whole thing. The scenario between S.H.I.E.L.D. and Daredevil are two totally different circumstances. There's no point in even trying to compare them. They were done for very different reasons. Der Wunderbar writes, Daredevil's cancellation surprised the hell out of me. I think it surprised a lot of people, Der Wunderbar. I think it surprised a lot of people. And maybe it shouldn't have surprised it all that much in hindsight, but the reality is it did. When I read that headline last night, I was like, what? What? It was hard to swallow. It was hard to imagine. It does make sense. When you really look at all the facts and you look at the circumstances, it's not all that surprising, but it did catch me by surprise. And I think it caught a lot of people by surprise, just like you and me, Der Wunderbar. All right. Nerds of Porn writes, should Daredevil, Kingpin, Punisher be put into the MCU now? Well, I think that is what will happen, but I don't think it'll be in the way you think. It's not going to be Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox and John Bernthal. I think we will see these characters in there, but there'll be new incarnations, permanently putting a zip on whether or not the Netflix universe was actually connected to the MCU in a real way, because it never was. It never was, not in any real way. So, yeah, I think that's the way it's going to turn out. Randall Cartwright writes, how often do actors/actresses watch movie reviews similar to yours? of the movies they are in? Or do they care? I'm sure they don't, but curious. Oh, most of them do, absolutely. They will all say they don't. Just like an athlete says, oh, I don't read the sports stories. I don't read what they're saying. Of course they do. Yes, they do. But you're supposed to say that you don't. There are some actors who don't, for sure. The ones who've been in this business for so long, they don't give a shit what reviews say. But most of these actors absolutely do. Absolutely do. I have been amazed how many times I've met an actor and they knew exactly what I said about them and one of their movies, right? Oh, they read. They read. They want to know what people are saying about their job, what they did, what their performance was. They want it. Just they're human beings, just like the rest of us. The vast majority of them absolutely do. And I remember this became really clear to me when I met Vin Diesel. And you guys might have seen that video clip, but I go in and sit down with Vin Diesel. I had no idea Vin Diesel knew who I was. And the first minute of our interview was just Vin Diesel going, hey guys, you guys got to watch this guy's show. This guy's great. He does this and this. And I'm like, you even know who I am? Like, it was crazy. But I've talked to others, a lot of others who, I'd meet them and say, hey, by the way, thanks for, the kind word you said about this, and this that I did. I've even met actors who go, you know what? I really appreciate that you said this about me in this movie because I know you didn't like that other one I did. And I like that you were still fair, that even though you didn't like me in this, you said you liked me in that. It is crazy. They really do. So yeah, don't believe it most of the time when they say, oh, I don't read the review. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. There are some really experienced actors who probably don't anymore, but most of them absolutely do. Let's see. Devontae Brown writes, maybe those analytics about Daredevil being down 50% were unfortunately right, but also weirdly means better analytics about Shields were right too. Well, no, not really. I mean, again, I've talked to people who do a lot more. Remember, Netflix does not put out their numbers. Netflix does not put out their viewership numbers. But a lot of analytics are done by measuring the social media response and social media buzz. Whereas things like Iron Fist, Luke Cage, none. Daredevil, through the roof. Through the roof. So this has nothing to do about ratings and numbers. This has everything to do about the specific contentious current relationship between Disney and Netflix. That's what this is about. 100% that's what this is about. Dervunderbar writes, where are we? Dervunderbar writes, when I get out of here, there will be carnage, Cletus Cassidy. You know what? I know a lot of people love that line in the post-credit scene of Venom. I thought it was cheesy. I didn't like the post-credit scene. I didn't like it. When I get out of here, there's going to be carnage. And everybody went, ooh, he said carnage. It's like, oh, God, really? That was lame. But everybody else loved it. I'm like one of the only guys who didn't like that scene. I'm one of the only guys who didn't like the scene. John DeMoto writes, bummed about Daredevil news. Moving it to the Disney service will lose the grittiness and violence which made the show so good. Disney equals 2PC. Well, I don't think Disney equals 2PC, but don't worry about it. It's not moving. It's done. It's as Marvel said in their statement, it was the Daredevil season 3 was the last and final season. The last and final season. They're not moving it over to the streaming service. They're just not. I think you're going to see him pop up as a character in the MCU. Anything is possible at this time, but I'm thinking 100% you're not going to see Daredevil on the streaming service. If you do, it'll be a new incarnation of Daredevil, but I don't even think they're doing that because I think it causes problems with the rights. I think you're going to see him in the MCU. I think you're going to see Daredevil in the MCU, a different new incarnation of Daredevil in the MCU. Let's see. Kick It to the King Productions. Matter of time we hear Jessica and Punisher are out. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So they've already got those shows in development. They're going to air and then cancel. One's going to air, then it'll be canceled. Then the next will air, and then it'll be canceled, and they'll be done with it. So there we are. PGML writes, I fear for Punisher now. Oh, yeah, Punisher's gone. I have no doubt. No doubt that. Don't worry, you won't hear anything about Punisher being gone until after the second season airs. But shortly after, within a month after the second season airs, Punisher has been canceled on Netflix. Yep, that's what's happening. But don't worry, because then they'll probably use a new Punisher character in the MCU. That's my guess. All right. Stubble McShave writes, Several of my friends say that they are going to see Avengers 4. I think many between 8 and 60 will go see it, but my 87-year-old grandma says she wanted to see Lion King, and she hasn't gone to see a movie since the 1990s. Stubble, this is exactly kind of been going to what I've been saying, and why I'm telling people you better believe that Lion King poses a threat to Avengers 4 as to what's going to be the number one movie at the box office in 2019. Because while Avengers, I've said this many times, while Avengers gets out the hardcore fans and the casual movie fans, which is why you get great results for the MCU movies, Lion King looks like it's going to do three things. It's going to get hardcore fans of the original film, it's going to get casual movie-going fans, and it's going to get people who don't go to the movies going to the movies. People like your 87-year-old grandma. We've had people writing in saying, hey, I've got siblings saying never want to go to the movies, but then the Lion King trailer drops, and now they're all gathering together saying, let's coordinate when we're going to go see Lion King. I am telling you what, I believe it is completely naive. It is completely naive to not believe that Lion King has a shot at topping Avengers 4 at the box office in 2019. I think we're burying our heads in the sand if you don't think that's possible. You're damn right it's possible. It very well might. I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying I believe it's completely naive not to acknowledge that there is a shot here. There's a legitimate chance that Lion King could end up as the number one box office film of 2019 and not Avengers 4. Will it? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Devonderbar writes, stoked for Young Justice Outsiders. Never been a Young Justice fan myself, to be honest with you. Pelican Mike writes, John, would a best scene category ever work? No. Because here again, it's just like little minute parts of movies. And I don't think so. I don't think a best scene, because how good a scene is largely dependent on what is the movie. Scenes happen within a context. Scenes don't happen in a vacuum, right? Scenes happen in a context. And the context is the movie as a whole. So, yeah, I don't think you'd ever see a best scene category. I don't think that's something they should ever will, nor is it something they ever should do, in my opinion, at any rate. Celtic Luke 19 writes, Daredevil gets canceled, but 13 Reasons Why gets renewed again. Yeah, I'm sorry, but see you later, Netflix. You've lost me now. Oh, come on. Over one show? With all the amazing, incredible stuff. Let's not get into the hyperbolic here, okay? Netflix is amazing. They have so much good shit on Netflix. It's crazy. Over one show, look, and besides, this isn't just like, oh, let's keep this show here. No, there's dynamics here at play between Netflix and Disney. There are extenuating circumstances to this. But, I mean, really? I mean, look, if the only reason you were watching Netflix was for Daredevil, then I get it. I totally get it. But let's not pretend like all these other incredible shows on Netflix all of a sudden aren't there just because Daredevil's not there. So let's not get too much into hyperbole here. Hyperbole's fun, but let's not get into it too much. But again, there were a lot of extenuating circumstances surrounding this that aren't surrounding, 13 Reasons. Which, why do you care if they renewed 13 Reasons? If you don't watch it, you don't have to watch it. So why do you care if they renewed 13 Reasons? Anyway, but listen, Daredevil will be back, just not season 4. And again, this is extenuating circumstances. This isn't a normal television cancellation. This has more to do with the relationship between Netflix and Disney than anything else. And that's the real stuff behind here. Let's see here. Where are we next? Roma Aram 30 writes, why would Netflix possibly cancel something that was going so well? I guess the rumors of lack of viewership were true after all. No, this has nothing to do with viewership. This has zero to do with viewership. This all has to do with the relationship and what's going on, the dynamics and the politics right now between Netflix and Disney. That's what's behind this. Adam K. writes, let's assume James Gunn directs Suicide Squad 2. If it's a giant hit and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 ends up underperforming, will Disney look foolish for firing him? Well, let's be clear here. Disney already looks a little foolish for firing him. That was the scenario they put themselves in. Let me rephrase. That was a scenario James Gunn put them in. Let's be fair. I'm a big James Gunn fan. I am a huge James Gunn fan. They should not have fired James Gunn. But I get why they did. I'm not pissed off at Disney for firing James Gunn. It's not what I would have done, but I understand. James Gunn's actions 10 years ago kind of put Disney in a very unwanted situation that Disney never asked for. I don't like how Disney handled it. I don't like, how they came out, we're disassociating ourselves from James Gunn. Oh yeah, then why are you using his script for Guardians of the Galaxy 3? Anyway, I don't like the way they handled it. I don't like the way they conducted themselves with it. I think they regret how they handled it, but it is what it is. Let's remember too, Suicide Squad 1 was a big hit. I think it made in the $800 million range. Like, if Suicide Squad 1 was a big flop, and then he directs Suicide Squad 2 and is a big hit, that's one thing. But let's not forget, Suicide Squad 1 was already a big hit. Financially, at any rate. Financially, it made a lot of money. So I wouldn't read too much into that, but hey, let's put it this way. If Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes out and makes $300 million, and Suicide Squad 2, directed by James Gunn, joins the $1 billion club, that's going to be a little bit of egg on Disney's face. Disney will get over it. They've got these, 8 $2 billion potential films coming out. Disney will be fine. They'll totally get over it. But yeah, will it momentarily make them look a little silly? Yeah, momentarily make them look a little bit silly for sure. Let's see. Roma Rom of 30 writes again, this whole business with the delay of the Avengers 4, delay? There's been no delay of the... Guys, come on, there's been no delay. The movie is still 5 freaking months away. Still 5 months away. December, January, February, March, April, May. Well, we're already practically in January. It's still 5 months away. It's not like the movie's coming out in 6 weeks. It's 5 months away, my friends. Anyway, this whole business with the delay of the Avengers 4 trailer. Let's be clear, there has been no delay. There is no delay of the Avengers 4 trailer. Anyway, and people are legitimately upset over this. Oh, God. If you're upset, I am upset. I am mad you haven't put out a trailer about Avengers 4 yet. Get over it. People are legitimately upset over this. They can't see Marvel as trolling. Okay, everybody, stop what you're doing. Take a freaking breath, my friends, my brothers and sisters in film fandom. It's a trailer for a movie that isn't coming out for 5 fucking months. It's not coming out for another 5 months. There has been no delay. And oh my God, I know this isn't you, Roma. You're not saying that you're upset. But if you're one of these people Roma's talking about and you are mad, you are legitimately upset. I mean, it's one thing to going, oh man, I'm going crazy waiting for the trailer. That's fine. If you're like, oh, come on, man, drop the Avengers 4 trailer. I'm so excited for it. That's fine. But if you're one of these people Roma's talking about, what's Disney doing? How dare they not give us our Avengers 4? Oh, God, get over yourself. Get over, if you're legitimately upset that and that it's not been, the movie is 5 months away. 5 months away. It's not even Christmas, and this is a movie that's coming out at the beginning of the summer. It's 5 months away. The Avengers 4 trailer has not been delayed. Disney is not trolling anybody, and nobody has any right to be legitimately upset. It's a trailer for a movie that's not still coming out for another 5 months. And they've got other movies opening up around it, not to mention another MCU movie that's coming out before it in Captain Marvel. Everybody just take a breath on this Avengers 4 trailer thing. Look, it's coming, and it's coming soon. And I can't wait to see it, and I'm sure you can't wait to see it. But this BS about it's been delayed. No, it hasn't been delayed. People are legitimately upset. Oh my God, really? Over a trailer? Because you haven't seen it yet? Just, God, guys, come on. Take a breath. Take a breath. It's coming. We'll all celebrate when it comes. But the movie's 5 freaking months away. It's not like it's opening up in 3 weeks and they still haven't dropped a trailer. Come on, guys. Come on. And it's a commercial. It's a commercial. A trailer is a commercial. We're talking about a commercial. All right? A marketing department's piece of content that is specifically designed to manipulate you into wanting to buy their product. That's what a commercial is. That's what a trailer is. let's take a breath. We can be excited about it. We can be anxious for it. We can drool over it. We can't wait for it. But legitimately upset at Disney because how dare you hold it? Anyway, let's move on. So Roma, if you come across those people who are legitimately upset, give them a little verbal smack. Give them a verbal smack and bring them back to reality. Robert Johnson writes, will Netflix characters be rebooted in the MCU proper? Yeah, I believe that's, well, as we already been talking about, Robert, that is what I believe. I don't have any insider information to confirm that, but I think all the signs and all the information that we do have all clearly points to that. That's my belief right now. Maybe not. Maybe they do something different, but that's where I'm thinking they're going. All right. Nando Restrepo writes, it'd be poetic or just funny that Aquaman became the crown jewel of the DCEU like Iron Man did. Both were not loved characters in the comics. I don't know. It's an interesting question. I mean, and it's Iron Man, the first Iron Man movie is not what crowned Iron Man as the crown jewel of the MCU. And I still think it's debatable whether he is, but it's how they continuously use the character over multiple films. Iron Man may not be the crown jewel, but he's at least number one or number two. It's clearly, all you gotta do is look at Civil War. The MCU is about Captain America and it's about Iron Man. And maybe they're going to be making room for other characters to take that mantle moving forward, but up till now, that's what it's been. But it took multiple films, really, for him to kind of gain that position. Same can be said for Captain America. First Avenger didn't give Captain America that spot. It was his multiple appearances in multiple films that did that. Look, with the response that the DCU movies have gotten so far, it's not going to be difficult to become the best rated DCU movie so far. It's not going to be difficult. The only movie that it really has challenging it is Wonder Woman. And that's a high standard. That's great. But it's not going to be all that hard to get better critic and audience responses than Batman vs. Superman did. It's not going to be all that hard to get better responses than Suicide Squad did. It's not going to be all that hard to get better responses than Justice League did. Wonder Woman is the only one real one that it has to beat. So even if Aquaman does come out and kind of accomplish that, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal in the context of just the DCU movies. It'll be a big deal that we got a successful film. Yay. But, we'll kind of see how that all works out. I'm Upset writes, random question, but can LeVar Ball beat Thanos? That dude's got to just stay out of things, man. That guy's just got to stay out of things. And just let his kids play. Just let the kids play, man. Dervunderbar writes, what happened to your camera that day, John? Oh, there was a day. I still don't know. I don't know. Something happened in my computer where, for those of you who don't know, my camera just blacked out and just stopped working. And you could still hear my voice, but it just blacked out. I don't know what happened. To this day, I can't figure out what caused it. I don't know. But haven't had the same problem since. Now watch, in the next 5 minutes, the camera's going to turn off. Holy Jeebas writes, hi, John, did you see Warriors versus Raptors game? Durant with 51 points and Kawhi with 37 points, went to OT. Felt like I was watching a Rocky match. No, I couldn't watch it because I was at the Laker game. But believe me, my eye was on the scoreboard of the Toronto Golden State game. My eye was on that scoreboard the whole time. So, yay Raptors beating the Warriors. Yeah, I mean, Durant's a beast, man. Imagine what it's going to be like next year when Durant goes to the Lakers, and it's going to be, and you're going to have LeBron and Durant playing together. Good grief. Riley Lopez writes, do you think Tom Holland's Spider-Man could make a cameo or maybe even a small role in the sequel of Into the Spider-Verse? I can't wait for that movie. No. Right now, they're not directly cross-pollinating the Sony side of things and the MCU side of things, so no, I really don't think that's a possibility. Would it be fun? Besides, they've already got the Spider-Man proper, which is Peter Parker, is already there in Into the Spider-Verse, right? So you've already got Peter Parker. So that's already a contradiction. So on that basis, no, I don't think they have any plans to cross-pollinate that just yet. Micah T writes, disappointed to hear about Daredevil. I never wanted the Netflix characters in the MCU, but always felt Charlie Cox would have his weight the best. Would have carried his weight the best? Yeah, probably. Even then, I'm not quite sure what you do with a Daredevil against a Thanos or against, the Black Order or against anything. I'm not sure what you do there, but I'm like most of you guys. I'm in that position right now where I'm kind of lamenting the fact that we're losing Daredevil, but at the same time, I want to take a breath and just be thankful for the 3 seasons we got, which were some of the best television on the air in the last number of years, and I'm not going to sour that. I just refuse to sour that. I'm not going to make this about being mad at Netflix. I'm going to make this about being grateful for Netflix for bringing us that series, because it's been fantastic. And whatever they do with the character now moving forward, I think they're going to reboot the character into the MCU itself. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Either way, it's going to be interesting to see where they go. All right. Judai Khalil writes, John, A National Treasure 3, yay or nay? You know, it's funny how many people bring up A National Treasure 3. It is crazy how often people bring up National Treasure 3. I'm going to say no, it's never going to happen. I just don't believe there's any chance in any one of the multiverses that it actually happens. Would I, as a fan, be curious to see it? Yeah, I think I would. I like National Treasure 1 and 2. They're not great, but I like them both quite a bit. And I would be down for it, but no, I don't think you can make any compelling argument to a studio that you should make it and that it could be profitable. I just don't think that exists right now. Sadly and unfortunately. Sase Kochia writes, a PG-13 MCU Daredevil sounds corny in my opinion. Well, I mean, let's be honest though. Daredevil wasn't all that far from being a PG-13 as it was. Let's be realistic. Was there a lot of sex in Daredevil? No. A lot of gratuitous nudity? No. A hell of a lot of F-bombs dropped? No. Was Daredevil on Netflix R-rated? I would say yes, but was it far from being PG-13? I don't think so. Look, we're not going to get one. They're not going to just take Daredevil and move it over to Disney+, so that's irrelevant. But if they did, honestly, would it be all that different? I would say no. I would say it probably wouldn't be all that different. That's just my opinion on that, but they didn't do much R-rated stuff in that show. I think they did just enough that it would probably be rated R. Just enough. But it would not be a big leap to make it PG-13. That's the way I saw Daredevil at any rate. PGML writes, Punisher too violent for the MCU? Depends on how you manage it. Depends on how you manage it. A lot of people said, Venom, too violent for PG-13. Audiences love it. One of the biggest comic book movie films of the last number of years. And everybody said, Venom, you can't. Far too violent, Venom. You can't make that PG-13. Well, guess what? They did it, and it worked. There's probably a way to do it with Punisher as well. I prefer my Punisher rated R, but there's probably a way to do it, I'm thinking. Gio writes, goodbye, Charlie Cox. Been a pleasure, my man. Absolutely, it has been a pleasure. He was great in the role, and I can't wait to see what he does next. Rar Nation writes, I signed up to A-List 6 months ago, and I love it. With Adam C4 movies, get one free deal. My friends won't pay as often. What a time to be alive. I cannot believe how much I love A-List. It is such a great thing, and I'm really anxious to see what Regal is going to do with their membership service. And I'm guessing probably by May, we're going to find out what Regal's membership service is going to be. I can't wait, and it's going to create some competition. It's going to be wonderful. But right now, AMC's A-List thing is the best deal in movies. I just love it. It's amazing. I'm glad you're on it too, Rar. Darth Primus writes, John, when you say Netflix has licensing right to Daredevil, do you mean like Sony and Fox deal with Marvel? Why would Marvel have another deal like this with Netflix? Well, because remember, there's a difference between movies and television, right? And Marvel, if they wanted to do this kind of a show, they didn't have a platform. If Marvel was interested in having that kind of a show made, they didn't have a platform that it could air on, right? They simply, you couldn't put that on ABC. Disney at the time wasn't into putting original programming on Hulu. So you had to make a deal with somebody to see what was possible. And so they entered into that kind of an agreement with Netflix. I will bet you dollars to dimes that that deal is only television. They could do their own incarnation of Daredevil and put him in the movies. I bet you almost anything they can. As long as there's not an ongoing new seasons being made, which is a little bit different and distinct from the types of deals they made with Fox and with Sony. So there's different contexts and different situations and some different parameters there that make it a very different situation. So yeah, it's a totally different thing. Flip the USB twice writes, could Detective Pikachu be the first good video game and anime adapted movie? I mean, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I liked The Last Tomb Raider, to be honest with you. I liked The Last Tomb Raider. And while there is a Detective Pikachu game, I don't know that you can call this a video game movie. I really don't. I mean, maybe you could present a good argument to make me see it that way, but even though a video game exists of Detective Pikachu, I really don't think this is based on that all that much, from what I know. But I am not the world's foremost expert on Pokemon, so I'm not the right guy to ask. ZMG Ruler writes, John plus Ann plus Tom plus Jen forever. Yeah, if Ann could go out for a night with Tom. The difference is this, though. Ann has never had a crush on Tom. Tom Hanks has just always been Ann's favorite human being, right? I straight up crushed on Jennifer Garner for more than a decade. So it's a very different situation with Ann and Tom and me and Jennifer Garner. Totally different. Like, I just straight up have crushed on Jennifer Garner since she was an Alias. So there's that. K Major writes, why is Disney pumping out these live adaptations so quickly? Why not space them out a bit more? Well, why? Why? I mean, is there a legitimate reason why you need to space them out more? And until you try it, you don't know what it's going to be. Let's put it this way. If they put out like 3 live action adaptations and Lion King joins the $2 billion club, well, then clearly there's no problem with not spacing them out. And it's not like they're opening 2 weeks after each other. They're opening, months apart. So right now, I don't think there's any compelling reason why you need to space them out any more than this. We don't have any real precedents to see how that plays out. So they're doing it. They're doing it in 2019. Let's see what kind of results they get. And let's be honest here. Dumbo was never going to be $1 billion film. It doesn't matter if you put it in a year with 15 live action Disney live action adaptations, or if you put it in a year all by itself. Dumbo is never going to be $1 billion movie. It's not going to be an $800 million movie either. It's going to be profitable. It'll make money, but that'll have nothing to do with it. I think they're more curious to see how does Aladdin and Lion King perform, being released in the same year. And I think they're going to do fine. I really do. I think they're going to be absolutely fine. The Popcornator, I like that name, writes, since Lion King is quote-unquote live action, wouldn't it be something if it won Best Picture? Could spark debate over legitimacy of Best Animated Award. Well, remember, there have been other animated films that have been nominated for Best Picture. I believe, was it Up or WALL-E? One of those two was nominated for Best Picture. Toy Story 3 was nominated for Best Picture. Let me just look this up here quick, because I knew it was either Up or WALL-E. Animated films nominated for Best Picture. Of course, the first animated film to ever be nominated for Best Picture was Beauty and the Beast. Let's see here. Let me pull this up. Okay, in Best Picture, yeah, it was Up. So there were 3 animated films in history have been nominated for Best Picture. The first one, of course, was Beauty and the Beast in 1991. Then Up, then 2 years in a row. Up got nominated for Best Picture, and at the 83rd Academy Awards, Toy Story 3 was nominated for Best Picture. It's been 8 years since an animated film's been nominated for Best Picture. I don't think one's going to happen this year, because I don't think Incredibles 2 will be nominated for Best Picture, although I think it would be pretty great if Incredibles 2 did get nominated for Best Picture. I loved Incredibles 2, but there's that. So it's not like... So Lion King winning Best Picture would be something... Unfortunately, I still think the Academy will want to have that cop-out award, that Best Anime. I don't like the fact that they have a Best Animated category. I'll celebrate it like every year when the winners win. That's great. But ultimately, if it was up to me, that wouldn't even be a category. Let's see here. Der Wunderbar writes, losing interest in Batman is like losing interest in life. Well, that is how a lot of people feel, Der Wunderbar, for sure. Ben Rayner writes, Blue Beetle was also on Smallville. final season 10 with Booster Gold. That's right. I do remember Booster Gold. You know what? I think you're right. I didn't remember Blue Beetle being in Smallville, but I did remember Booster Gold. That was kind of lame, but you're right. I totally forgot about that. That wasn't there. Still not one of my favorite characters. He's not the one I would line up for, but the very fact that it gives you an avenue to bring us the first lead film with a Hispanic or Latino lead, I think is a really good business move. Let's see how it actually works out. Nosferatu writes, would you ever consider doing a top 10 cartoon characters? Probably not. Not something that would interest me nearly as much. Characters are only as good as the context that they're in, so I'm interested in doing animated films, but just characters? I don't know. Because every single one, you would have to have 8 asterisks beside it, right? And you'd have to really qualify it, and so probably not. I probably wouldn't, no. Tall Potato writes, I live in the UK and have been lucky to see Star Trek Discovery and soon Titans on Netflix. Will the same happen with the new Disney MCU shows? Probably, that's my guess. You see, for those of us in North America, like if you want to see Star Trek Discovery, you have to have CBS All Access. If you want to watch Titans, you got to have the Warner Brothers DC streaming service. But those services are only available domestically. Well, they want those shows seen all over the world, so they make distribution deals outside of the U.S. So if you're in, Portugal, you can have Netflix and watch Star Trek Discovery, and you don't have to have CBS All Access. I do have a feeling, I don't know this for sure, so don't quote me on this, but I do suspect that you will be able to get the MCU stuff on Netflix. I believe you'll be able to get the Disney Plus original stuff probably on Netflix if you are outside of North America. That's my guess, but I don't know that for a fact, so let's kind of wait and see. Let's see here. X-Skull King 123 writes, happy day, John. Thank you so much, X-Skull. Rewatched Ready Player One last night and still my favorite movie of the year. Perfect example of take inspiration from the book, but make changes from the book to fit your movie. Dude, I never even read the book when I saw the movie. And I know there were a lot of people excited about the movie. I was just excited because it was a Steven Spielberg film. Could not believe how much I enjoyed that movie. That movie blew my socks off. Absolute dynamite. It was a great adventure film. And the action was heart-pounding. The effects were perfect for the story they were telling. I thought the performances were solid. Obviously, the direction was great. I love that movie. I love Ready Player One. And you know what? I haven't watched it since it's been in theaters. I saw it twice in theaters, and I haven't watched it since. And I really got to go back and watch it again, X-Skull, because and you're right, a great example of being based on other source material, but taking the liberties you need to make a good motion picture in a different medium. It is another wonderful example of that. Absolutely, you're bang on the money with that, and I'm glad you brought it up again because it reminded me that I got to see this movie again. All right, guys. I said I was committed to getting through all the questions. Please don't send in any more super chat questions, guys. I'm just going to ask you to send in no more because I'm really gone way over time, but it's Friday, so that's fine. This is going to end up being a 2-hour episode, which I don't want to do anymore. And my voice is going on me, so I'm just going to go rifle through these fairly quickly. Just try to get through all of them. All right. Guitar Dude 513 writes, I think an apt comparison to the Blue Beetle design is your favorite Iron Spider suit. I'm excited about the possibilities of that film. Hey, look, if I was a studio head, would I greenlight a Blue Beetle movie? No. But am I curious about it? Yes. Yeah. And I agree with you, Guitar Dude. There are some real possibilities here. There are some pretty cool things you could do. And I'm excited to see what direction they go with it. Especially, and you know what, we'll get even more excited about it if Aquaman, Shazam, and Wonder Woman 84 live up to what they look like they're going to be. If all three of those films live up to the potential they looks like they have, we could become very excited about Blue Beetle. Alan Gonzalez writes, Blue Beetle reminds me of the guy. Yes. I've always thought that. I think it is a ripoff of the Guyver. I can't say that to be for sure. Well, remember, Blue Beetle was created, I think, like in the 60s, but it was a different incarnation. It wasn't the Blue... You're bang on the money, Alan. Bang on the money. Riley Lopez writes, Blue Beetle, isn't he an anti-hero type? I don't think so. Not the way... I mean, maybe there was an incarnation where he was, but this animated TV show thing, he's always been portrayed pretty much as a hero. The origins of the suit and the scarab... being meant as an intent, as a device for global domination, That's different, but Jaime Reyes himself, I think, has always been portrayed as a hero, I think. Let's see. Gio writes, rewatch Ready Player One. Honestly, it got worse for me. Oh, that's too bad, Gio. I really enjoyed it. I saw it twice, and I liked it even more the second time I see it. But hey, all film is subjective, man. Dervunderbar writes, Wes Craven directed Swamp Thing. Cheesy but good. I didn't even remember that Wes Craven directed that. I had no recollection of that. That's really interesting. MUWT writes, will you watch Game Awards? Russo brothers will be there. I will probably watch them, yes. They said the Russos are going to be there doing a presentation. Some people speculating it's the Game Awards that they're actually going to be dropping the Avengers 4 trailer. Whether that's, I think it might, the Avengers 4 trailer might actually drop before that, but it's possible. Let's wait and see. Brand Sheehan writes, hey John, will there ever get the Jedi Council again? Well, there's another place that still does that show, so I've never done that here. I've done my own Star Wars show. If I can find a good co-host, let me rephrase, if I can find a good co-commentator, because a host and a commentator are two different things. If I could find a good co-commentator that has great camera presence, fantastic communication skills, knows Star Wars inside out and backwards, then I will consider, and somebody that I've not worked with before. If I can find that person, I will do it, but I will not do it again until I can find that person. Devontae Brown writes, so will Daredevil just be recast or rebooted too? I suspect rebooted. So both, recasted and rebooted. So it'll be a new incarnation of the character. That's what I believe is the direction they're going in. That I think all signs point to that. I could be wrong. Could be dead wrong about that, but that's what I suspect. Rufino Salazar Jr. writes, I can't stop listening to the Creed 2 album and score album. Thanks, John. Keep up the awesome work. It's such a great movie. And I've still only seen it once. Anne has seen it. She went to go see it with me. What hasn't Anne seen yet that we got to go see? She hasn't seen The Grinch, and she hasn't seen Fantastic Beasts yet, which is killing her because she's a major Potterhead. But I got to go back and watch Creed again. And you're right, the soundtrack. I still prefer the soundtracks from the old Rocky films, but it was a really good soundtrack. It was absolutely a very good soundtrack. Static Space Sean writes, people say that Atticus Finch is the greatest father in cinema. Do you agree? Also, would you put Mufasa in that conversation? I'd have to sit down and make a list. I'm not sure. Atticus, I believe, on AFI's top 100 heroes list, I believe Atticus was actually listed as the number one best hero in movie history. Which, if you've seen To Kill a Mockingbird, you get why. So greatest father, that's not a list I can just pull off the top of my head, so I'd have to think about it. Let's see. Took a big jump. Where are we at? Okay, here we go. Jared's Reviews writes, hey, John, watched Game Night last night and loved it, especially Jesse Plemons. Jesse Plemons is so good in that movie. He is an amazing talent and hope he can break out and become a big name. You know what? Let's not understate how far Jesse Plemons has come. Because you just say the name, people recognize, not everybody everywhere, but a lot of people, you just say Jesse Plemons and a lot of people know the dude you're talking about. And man, you know what? I am guilty when I talk about Game Night of not talking enough about Jesse Plemons. Because I always mention Bateman and Rachel McAdams, and they're amazing in it. Jesse Plemons is so freaking good in that movie. He is so good in that movie. I love him in that. Thanks for bringing that up, man. Mason Hawking writes, binge The Office for the first time. Wow, dude, I'm so envious. It's probably 3 shows to me in the conversation of greatest sitcoms of all time. In no particular order: Seinfeld, The Office, Parks and Rec. And The Office is so freaking good. You can probably, now that you've binged it, you see why everybody's raving about the possibility of maybe them renewing the show and doing it again. It would be incredible. Alan Gonzalez writes, is The Rock going to be in Expendables 4? I don't even know if they're going to do Expendables. I honestly don't know. I doubt it, though. I doubt The Rock would be in Expendables 4. Expendables movies are fairly low budget, and I do not think you can afford The Rock at this point. I don't think they can afford to have The Rock in it. So I'm going to say no. That's my guess. Not insider information, that's just my guess. Dan Meyer writes, Daredevil has been called a poor man's Spidey. Is he the contingency to Sony pulling the plug? Oh, no, not at all. First of all, they're completely different characters. One's blind. One's a lawyer. One has no real superpowers. Heightened senses to the degree they see superpowers, but they're totally different from Spider-Man. Spider-Man, superhuman speed, strength, agility. Daredevil doesn't have any of those. He has the peak of human speed, strength, and agility, but he doesn't have super strength. He doesn't have super speed. I don't know why anybody would call it. It's such a fundamentally different character. But they both wear a red suit. That means they're the same. Their characters are completely different. Their backgrounds are completely different. Their power sets are completely different. I just don't understand anybody who would call it that. That's just my interpretation at any rate. Beto Robles writes, is Ultron Pinocchio going wrong? Well, actually, in many ways. Well, remember, in Ultron actually uses the classic Pinocchio line. No strings on me. That's from Pinocchio, right? So they've already made, so yes, they even in the movie itself, they themselves made that analogy. Tony is Geppetto and Ultron is Pinocchio. No strings on me. I mean, that's the whole thing. So even the movie itself made that comparison. Good observation. C. Stacks writes, anybody who calls Daredevil poor man Spidey can catch these hands. Okay, Braun. But true. I mean, it's just... if you ever hear somebody mentioning that, just give them a verbal smack. Randall Guzik writes, could any of the canceled Marvel shows end up on Hulu since Disney has an ownership in that service? Just curious since the focus has been elsewhere. I don't think Netflix is giving up the rights to those shows. Those shows as they exist, I don't think Netflix has given them up. They're staying on Netflix. So, no, I don't think that's a possibility. I would have thought that was a possibility a while ago, but I don't think that's a possibility anymore. But then again, who knows? Let's wait and see. Felonious Chino writes, I loved L.A., Nerd's Dream, saw Roma 2, yikes. Oh, so clearly you came... I love Los Angeles. I really do. I'd rather be living at home. I'm not going to lie. I've never lied about that. I mean, if I had to live anywhere that wasn't home... LA would be a place that I would choose. It's great. I love living, especially as a film fan. It's a dream to live here. But if I could have my cake and eat it too, I would have my life, except I'd be back home where my friends and family are. But I do love Los Angeles. Durhama1 writes, I'm with you, John. Disney might be taking the Netflix Marvel characters and reboot them for movies or TV. That way they can have a fresh new start. Yeah. And again, it just puts an exclamation point on the whole thing that the Netflix universe was never really connected to the MCU. The Netflix universe was never really connected to the MCU. And that'll just kind of put an exclamation point on that. Dropkick Aggie writes, did you see my fighting Texas Aggies beat the hell out of those dang LSU Swamp Kitties in 7 overtimes? Game of the year in college football. I didn't watch the game, but I saw the highlights. I did see the highlights. That was nuts. That was absolutely nuts. And you know what the funny thing is? Like, from what I understand from the highlights, the game itself was good. It was a good game. But it was the 7 overtimes that made it absolutely nutty. So there you go on that. But congratulations to you, man. Let's see. Finally, last 2 questions. Pixar Fanification writes, thoughts on Universal buying the rights to Dear Evan Hansen? I'll be honest with you, I don't know what that is. So unfortunately, I can't answer that. Instant Patriot writes, no more Daredevil on Netflix. But John, well, I mean, hey, seasons 1 through 3 are still there, man. Seasons 1 through 3 are still there, and a 4th season in Defenders is still there. So it's sad, it's unfortunate, but given the circumstances, I kind of get it and I kind of understand it. But yeah, but don't worry. He'll be back. The character will be back. A different incarnation of the character, a different version of the character, but the character will be back. Probably in the MCU. So let's wait and see what Disney has in mind. All right, guys, my throat is wrecked. That'll do it for today's Friday installment of the John Campea Show. An extra long version here today to get us pumped to go into the weekend. Thanks for being here. A couple of reminders again. I will have a couple of companion videos coming up this weekend. Also, I am going to do sometime this weekend my first play-in chat with PlayStation 4 Spider-Man. That's going to be my play-in chat. Again, just be prepared. You're going to be sitting down to watch a car wreck because I suck at console stuff. Suck at it. You're going to be yelling and screaming at the monitor at me and all that kind of stuff, but I'm terrible. But hey, if you want to come along and chat while I play Spider-Man, come on along and join me. All right, guys, that will do it for me for today. Oh my God, my throat is gone. Thank you so much for being here and joining me, and thanks for hanging in there. My name's John Campea, guys, and until the next video, bye-bye.